lots of times people felt that they are kind of um, helpless in this formation of habits and also changing the, especially the smokers, because they have not only a physical and physiological habit, but also psychological habit too. That's why they feel like I am not in control at all, and then they're really miserable, right? Because they're so comfortable when they're smoking. They feel like I am smoking, so I'm good time, and my mind works better and all that. And a lot of people told me that it is their crutch, or it is their friend. It is something that they enjoy in their life. That's why they don't go without it. But then the physical damage, the physiological damage is all there for everybody to see. And also the patient will have disease problems, a cough, shortness of breath, and all that too, right? So we had to, you cannot just say, oh, smoking is bad, so quit it. There is a lot of suffering underneath when they're trying to quit. So I needed to really grasp the meaning that I was studying ancient wisdom, and then how they have really described this. There's a friend coming up. Okay, Lou. Okay, let's invite Lou. I talked to him the other day. Hi, Lou.
Hello, Dr. Al.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good,
How are you?
good. Yeah, I thought I will say a few words about habit and my experience and my insight into this. I was making a short essay and also a video on this topic. I thought I will come and talk about this here too, but I'll get the video ready when it is done. Okay. What do you think about the habits, Lou?
I think what you said about like obviously smoking is a really good example.
Yeah, yeah.
That there's these under things that are underneath everything that are like buried away, and
Yeah.
Like to me, you can't do anything, you can't work with anything without kind of understanding the origin of something. So it's like we got to go backwards.
Yeah.
To get back to that point.
Yeah. See, the way I was understanding the ancient wisdom, why they were, a lot of people considered this control, this character, whatever they called it, within our capacity or inner strength. They cultivated it because they understood how thoughts form, how thoughts conduct their way, and also they go and settle down in our subconscious, and then that becomes a mental habit. And then as you more repeat it, it becomes so strong, it becomes very difficult to get rid of it because it is buried deep in you and you don't know it is coming up. So they called that samskaras, and then the tendencies they called vasanas, the Sanskrit words for the same things we talk about. Now, once you understand how they were formed unconsciously because you are unaware of it, and then it's going on strengthening itself in a neurological way, in a physical neurological path, it is forming the habit. So that's why the more, even the good habits also, the more we repeat, the more we do in life, they become automatically later on. That's why they tell you study this way and practice a game this way and all. Any habit is the same, right? But then the solution that yoga and other ancient systems provide is when you sit down and reflect on what is going on with your mind in a meditative manner, then you can discover these tendencies and these repeated ingrained thoughts and all that. Then, because you are aware of it, you are distanced from the habit, and slowly you can recover it, and then you can really unearth the whole habit. That's the philosophy. Okay, so it's not that easy, but first of all, people have to be able to sit down. People have to be able to slow their thoughts and observe them, and then have to be able to be careful about not reinforcing it by getting into that habit, and all those things are there. But then that's what a good meditation teacher will do to you to help you deal with all those obstacles. When you can develop that inner power of meditation, where you can observe where your mind has gone, what it is doing, and how you can reverse that. Okay, so that's the important. Other thing is, they found these bioenergies in our body, and they called them gunas. And everybody comes with different kind of. Some may have drive, some may have lazy about things, some may have equanimity about things. Those kind of qualities are there. So we come like that. So it is easy for us to go certain tendencies such way. Understanding that nature of things, how we have those energies. Say somebody can be very ambitious, very aggressive, and doing things. Somebody may be placid, want to take it easy, and all. Those are all because of the qualities with which they were born. That's another insight I had. So understanding that, then you are under the tremendous power of these energies that we inherited or we are born with. Then you can understand what kind of foods, what kind of activity aggravates those particular biological energies, and then modify them or bring them into balance. Then habits will not be so overwhelming to you. That is the theory that they had. These two things, like ingrained thoughts, how the thought feeds on itself, and also having these biological energies acting on us. All these very important to psychosomatic medicine, because the biological energies really form our ego and then make it so strong. It's very difficult to get out of that egoic structure. And but if you once you are there, then your disease process although won't be so much exaggerated by reactions of the ego of the mind. So that once you understand that, it's much easier to handle. Suppose somebody tells somebody, oh, you have this diagnosis, you have the disease, and some people react so much, so their reaction makes that disease much worse. Somebody will take it philosophically or equanimously, say, okay, I will deal with it according to the maturity, age, and so many factors are there. So I see that all the time in the patients. Makes sense to you?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So those perspectives I want to bring, not only as a modern physician of a neurological response that we see, but also what is the ancients talked about our mind, our subconscious mind, our energies. If we understand them, I think it's. I don't use anything to reverse the smoking, because when people come to the smoking, they come with a really entrenched habit, and sometimes they say it's impossible for me to stop smoking. But once we start the program, and once we put them like a initial program, what we do is, come on, you have smoking, fine. All that I want to do is, whenever you have this urge that I want to smoke, people get those urges, right? Then just to postpone it for 5 minutes and sit down and take deep breaths. That's all I tell them. But do that every time you have the urge to through the day. And usually they agree. They may do many times, they may not do many times. But they, according to the person, some people are very sincere, some people are, only do a few times. Even if they do few times, they found themselves at the end of the deep breathing 5 minutes, they don't have the urge anymore, so they don't have to smoke. So even if they stop 4 or 5 cigarettes like that in the day, they have tremendous psychological power that they did it by themselves without any help of the medication and all that. But sometimes we start with some medication so that they can have some help with it. But then we do only for 2 weeks, and afterwards we take away the medication. And this is called uh, uh, postpone breathing, and or PBR we call. Postpone the smoking the cigarette upon urge for 5 minutes, and breathe deeply, and down to 5 minutes re-evaluate whether you want to smoke or not. And they did it, and many people were very happy with that. And sooner or later, they were able to cut down, or they were able to give up smoking completely. So I was very proud for that work, because as a physician, it's no big deal giving medications, doing surgery, or anything. All those things are given, right? Everybody does. But this is something like my pet project, and I worked with many smoke. I kind of tell people proudly that I was able to get rid of a lot of smoking from a lot of people. Anyway, that's a little bit just my own satisfaction, I'm telling you. But then understanding what is mind, how these vrittis, they call thoughts, how they come up from our past memory, or from the so many stimuli around us, or from our learnings from our school or culture or family. All these impulses are formed into some kind of thought. And then if you are not careful about giving it up and going away, that can go into your subconscious as another memory, and it will become the basis for the next time thought. And the more you do the same thing, the more it becomes reinforced. The good things will be, any talent or anything you practice, then it becomes part of you, it comes through you. That's why neurological response will be very quick if you practice things, right? Even the games and all that. That's all good. But then, suppose you practice something like a resentment, something like a anger, something like a hateful feeling, or whatever, then that is the problem. And that can come up and bother you and take you to your psychodrama for the past. Then somebody insulted you some 2 months ago, you can still return it, you can fume about it. It depends on how strong your ego and all that is. But if you learn to end these kind of things every day, which is what I teach about conscious thought, if you do that, then you don't give the chance for these samskaras, this ingredient thought, to accumulate in your subconscious and take their own life later on. We give a lot of value to the personality traits and all that, but that's the kind of look down upon in the meditation angle, because you don't want to accumulate a lot of dirt in your mind, all these things, right? So it really helps you to be solitude of mind and really take away things from your own experiences, and then finish them off, throw them away, don't accumulate them. Okay. Makes sense, Lou?
Makes perfect sense again.
Yeah. Tell me about anything that you have to say about the habits. Let me say, Alka.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I was just listening. I'm trying to learn personally how to just listen more. The way obviously my summary of that is I've just simplified it, obviously, like obviously breaking it down.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm just hearing, whenever I hear the word habit, I'm hearing pattern and this repetitive nature.
Yeah.
And obviously with the subconscious, way I look at it, it's like we've got this mirror. So when we're conscious in the external world, we're taking on board the things. It depends on how aware we are of the way we receive them, which then affects the subconscious. It's like a memory bank, which
exactly
it could either work against you, but really ultimately it's working for you. So these things get lost within your heads for a moment, and they arise only when they're necessary and that you require them. And I believe, like with the smoking thing and with things in general when it comes to habits, it's just like I said, it's like, to me it's like one linear line. It's like subconscious on the left side and you've got conscious on the right, and then you draw that center point and that creates that like mirror reflection. And if we're aware of that, there comes a point where in realization, where we call it awareness, the sixth chakra and all of that stuff, you've got knowledge. They become one thing. They become, because they're in union with each other, they understand each other. But I believe there's a specific point in which people are granted that within their lives, And then obviously to me, it's about then once you've accumulated all the knowledge, it's how to transcend knowledge.
Very
Obviously,
good.
that's the
Yeah, that's it.
next part.
It's knowledgeable is good, but then knowledge of psychological matters, putting them in our mind, that's the problem we have. If you have just information, you use it for the occasion, and then don't want to overload your mind with lots of things. That's good. You see, you mentioned left and right. One way to look at it is left we associate with intellect, and then right as intuitiveness, right? Now, what we did as modern people, we kind of worship intellect as though that is everything. It does give us some scientific work and all that, and also understand things and all that. But then it kind of works on our humane qualities of kindness, compassion, love, and all that. For that, the right one, which has the intuitive insights and all that. So we got to have balance of both of them. You have to understand when I'm really overthinking, when I'm really giving too much value to the intellect over my intuition and losing the capacity to build that intuitive awareness and all that is there. But once you are equanimous, then you can learn something, you can use your intellect, but then you can stop it right there. That is the awareness brings it to account. Whereas you are intuitive, then you can grasp a lot of things that are inherent in situations, and it does help a lot. So I kind of want people to cultivate some habits, which I was pondering about. Like, suppose you say as a consumer, and you say, Mother is my earth. That's where we all came from, right? That's why ancient called about mother being our earth, right? And then they said, let me treat her as a mother, and then see what I can do to really help her to revive all the things instead of being a rampant consumer, because we get caught up with this conditioning, the marketing, and all this that all the forces bring on us, and they say you got to have these things even though we don't need it, and then we are doing irreversible damage to the earth that is there. Like, suppose you say, I'm content, I'm inner happy. That kind of habit also is good. So I kind of compiled in my movie several of these habits people can think about and see whether they are doing them or not. So I'm going to take this topic tomorrow, so because it's a vast topic and it's very important for people to really self-help them. More like where am I really cultivating good habits or bad habits? Habit itself is not really anything to worry about, but then habit it is that is done for the detriment. That is the problem. That's how to not to cultivate it, or how to unearth it. When, for example, smoking, they may have got into it because as the teenagers, they were talked to by their friends, the peer pressure, right? And then they get into it, and then they unconsciously smoke for several years. Then it becomes psychological habit that they don't know, they want to quit, they cannot. But I kind of prepared them, though. Every time they come to me for a simple thing like a cough and all that, sometimes we have to take an X-ray, because to see the patient is high fever, coughing, and phlegm, and all that, he had pneumonia. The X-ray shows. Fortunately, I have an X-ray plant on my own office, so we used to do that and study the X-rays, right? And then the X-ray show the expanded lung shadows in a smoker, because lungs are trying to compensate for the damage that the smoking is doing, right? So slowly, as they come to clinic for 1 or 2 years, and when I see them, I kind of gently tell them this is because of the smoking, and they understand that something is physically being damaged in their own lungs, right, with the smoking. And that's how we prepare them to know what's going on. And then they will think about it, they want to stop it, and then they come for help. So I never take somebody who does not want to stop smoking, because he cannot do it. he has to be motivated to stop smoking. Then we can take his hand and help him. And usually we do that. And I never call them, oh, you are a bad person, you're putting smoke out and then it's spoiling my air, nothing like that. you know, you just understand their uh, vulnerability and how they picked it up, and they are also human beings suffering too, right? But I never smoked in my life, but I could see the suffering in the smokers when they came to my office quite a bit. So this topic is going to continue in the next few days, so that I can bring that film and then present it to, and people can. I just wrote about the script this afternoon, and several ideas came to my mind, and I was putting them all. What about this? What about this? And all that. So I will have to edit it, the text a little bit more, and then I will put it in the film form. I use it the pictory and makes it a film for me. Then I will bring it to for you guys to see and appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, Lou, is that a plan?
Yeah, understandable. And like what I wanted to say, obviously, was what you said, but I was going to say it in a word. It's obviously the acceptance.
Yeah.
So you already run over that. You can't go. You can't even start without acceptance, because ignorance won't even. Well, you won't be able to move and make any progress.
Exactly.
So yeah, just thank you, Dr. Rao.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing what you're doing anyway. Just I know you may not need reassurance, but honestly, you're doing a really good job. Yeah. And thank you. Much love and light.
Yeah. See, one of the habits I talk about all the time is how silent are you in a day? Are you able to sit down at least for a few minutes, putting all the devices away, putting everything, just closing the eyes and sitting down? People may be able to do a minute, 2 minutes, or 15 minutes, 30 minutes, according to what it is. For somebody like me, because of the years of being aware of the importance of the solitude of the mind and the silence of the mind, that has become my real uh, being there. I don't have to cultivate it, it is already there. So it's possible for a human being to be in silence and stay there. And then when you want to do, like, for example, I'm giving a just coming and talking to my friends here, I have to express what I want to say, why I'm saying this and all. Otherwise, up until I start that, my mind is silent. That is possible for anybody. It's not that we are freak or we are special or anything like that. It's a question of understanding how mind works, how thought itself works, how thought is one of our faculties. That's not everything of us. We have several faculties that are inside, that are really able to help us, like the memory, like the imagination, like the lot of constructive or uh, inspirational ideas that we get. That is, they're coming from what there's a part called chitta. From there, one way to appreciate all the qualities is to be silent, and as the thoughts come up, just to follow them. Don't fight them. Don't indulge in them. Just watch them, and then let them slow down and go away, and enjoy that peace and serenity of the mind. Then creative ideas come into you, and that is the beauty of it. Okay, so anybody can cultivate that kind of thing, and they can be silent at will for several hours of the day. If you cannot do that, at least do 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day, especially when you get up. Don't rush into things. Don't think about immediately, oh, I have this itinerary, I have to do that, this. No, give it time, breathe, appreciate the nature around you. And then really, once you are settled down in that present moment awareness, then get up and then do whatever you have to do. But if you miss that point and then you give the gallops to the thought, the thought will be running and building on itself through the day. That's what is happening in the information era. And then at the end of the night, they don't do anything and then they just go to sleep because the body is exhausted now. But then mind cannot rest completely because you have not made an effort to take away all the things that we accumulated in the mind which we don't need to, especially emotional reactions or intellectual conclusions or prejudices or whatever tendencies we have, all those things like you can watch it TV news and you can have several reactions, all those things. If you can learn to take them away, that becomes a very meditative practice and also revives your mind. That's the important thing, then you won't be reacting just like that, but you will be responding to things, very valuable practice. So that's something I would insist on people try. Get up in the morning, sit at the very edge of the table, close your eyes, take deep breaths, bring your mind to the breath and be aware of it. And if some things pop up in your mind, like, oh, I have to go and do that job, I have to pay this bill, I have to do all those things, put them away for a while, just observe them, and then don't indulge in them. And then once you have cultivated where you are aware of the room, the things in the room, the animated or unanimated things, and then you are completely aware of the present moment in that room or in that place, wherever you are, then you have established yourself in the present. Cultivate that as a habit, you know, and then just before you sleep, you do the same thing again. If you can do this at least for 5 minutes, just after getting up and also before you go to sleep, not 1 hour before, just before you fall asleep for 5 minutes, you do that and see what qualitative difference it makes for the sleep. You'll be very happy if you do that, but you have to do that for some time. You cannot get it just like that, just like I give a nitroglycerin, you will get this chest relief, pain relief right away. You won't get like that. This is something, mind is such as, even if you have listened to a lot of inspirational talks or spiritual talks, it may absorb so much information. But then the moment you go to sleep, you get up, all that will be wiped out. All your tendencies, all your habits, they come into place and then they take hold. That's why many people, New Year resolution, they say, oh, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to go to the gym every day. I will exercise and all that, right? But then when they get up, the body and the mind, they have a separate mind. Like, they say, "Oh, we never agreed to this, and then we want to be in our own comfort." And then that's why people fight about motivation, somebody, personal trainer, and all that. But the people who are the yogis I saw, they are so uh, really so established in their sankalpa. That means their decision about exercising. They don't need any alarm clock. They don't need anything. They get up in the morning and then they have a clear mind and then they get into asana. I do that all the time too. And I don't need an alarm clock. And I get up and I do the exercise. I get refreshed completely, and then being in the present all the time is one thing, and being in the present moment awareness, with awareness, all that's another thing. Once you cultivate that, life will be beautiful, I'm telling you. So that's the habit I would recommend. Cultivate the silence every day before you go to sleep and right after you got to sleep. Make sense, Lou?
Again, yeah. Can I add like something that I'm literally seeing?
Sure.
Sense. Like when you're talking about seeing things within your mind and in the sense of meditation or stillness, then you've got the opposite, which is stimulation.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. You watch them, but don't indulge, don't suppress them.
It feels like you're feeling it. That's how you watch it. You're not actually watching it, but you're feeling it, and you're getting this, like you say, it's this intuitive sense based.
That's it. Intuitive awareness. Awareness is always intuitive. It is the intellectual thought that come up. Nothing wrong with it. But if you allow them, they will run with another thought. There's a network of thought forms if you really indulge in that, and otherwise you will suppress it. That's why in the meditation, what I teach all the time is, if the thoughts come, don't fight them, don't suppress them, or don't go and indulge and form a network of thought. But what you want to do is just to passively watch, like you are watching a cloud in the sky. The cloud comes, and then the cloud can stimulate thoughts, right? But then you are not allowing it to do. You are just allowing it to come, and you watch it, and it will go away. That's the kind of thing that you want to do. Or you can say, oh, the cloud is beautiful, the cloud has rays around it, the cloud is dark, and all those things, thoughts that can form further thoughts, and then you will indulge in that. That's why practicing something coming in front of you, and then really not observing the sensory stimuli, that's called pratyahara. That is a yogic practice where you go to the flower, you see the flower, you enjoy the flower. Don't make comments on the flower. Don't describe it. Don't compare it. Don't bring images from past flower. Just stay with it. That is the perception of the power as it is, not according to your memory or according to your conclusions, but as it is. Then it will display its own beauty. So, in other words, we don't have the chatter in our mind, but we are with the flower as it is in the moment.
Let it be.
So that's what.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that's what the meditation helps you. You can start first by just getting up and being silent, and then slowly extending the period. Then you begin to really feel the bliss of that silence, and that propels your day.
Take care, Dr. Ram.
Yeah. So that's for today. What I wanted to say. Alka, you want to say anything? You want to come up? I just want to give you a chance, just in case you want to talk about it. Other thing is with the habit formation, you want to really help children when they are very young. If you can help them to question things, to ask important things, their mind will wake up, and then they provide a lot of beautiful questions, and from which they will learn a lot more. So, learn by questioning is one thing that is really advisable, not only from the ancients, but also from the Socrates way of thinking, right? That is another thing I would really like to say is question everything that you see and reflect on it, and the insights will come.
I totally agree with you. So I just wanted to come up because there was something I kind of wanted to add. So obviously the time was running out.
Sure.
But the way I'm seeing this is because obviously everyone sees things from their own matter of perception. So
Yeah.
the way that they deal with things, or the things that they do in life, what they do for work, all of those sorts of things. But I'm seeing this in terms of like a network. It's like the things, whether it be smoking, whether it be cannabis, or whatever it is, whatever you're doing or ingesting or taking into your body, your mind and body going through these series of chemical reactions which are taking place, and then every particle and everything inside your body is then all having this communication, which then goes to your brain, and then how you choose to react is another reaction which reacts with that reaction, which is this chain effect.
That's true.
Like the word of culture, cultivate, that you said, is very big for me.
Yeah.
Because cultivate, something, to grow something from its very original form, its seed, to water it and to nurture it, and then to have that growth, to then harvest that thing and to collect and to create something brand new out of it. And I believe that's what this is. It's like these chemicals that are floating around in our minds, which we call thoughts.
That's the whole thing, Lo. It's called conditioning. You see how we are exposed to the what culture. Suppose somebody is born in Africa compared to America or in some other cultures, right? Not every culture is a kind of the same, right? They have their own inherent ancient to now modern adoption. So many things are there. Languages, so much of traditions, and all those things are there. So conditioning happens when we forcibly put people into certain things, and then they only think those are the only ones that are available, and nothing else, and they don't question that. But the condition becomes so strong then, for example, racism, right? Usually, the racism is displayed in the community, in the houses, in the household family, and also the schools and society as a whole. The people who are committing racism as a practice because they have advantage for having that race and then promoting that, right? But that becomes conditioning for the person. He doesn't understand, he's separating from other people, he's treating them badly, and all this suffering is accumulating and all that. But then once he realizes, I am conditioned to feel like this, but actually in my heart I don't have any difference, I accept everybody, then the love is born, which is natural, comes out. And that man is wants to get rid of these tendencies that are there in him. Some of these people, when they come to my office with this, they will talk about this also. Some of them are surprised to find these racist tendencies in them. They never think that they are like behaving like that, but suddenly it comes out. This all conditioning, we call it. If you are unconditioned, you feel the relief for yourself. So there's a difference between habit and a perception, especially in thought. Habit is based on the memory, past experience, and all that, mostly unconscious, right? But perception is looking at something as it is, despite what I have an impression about it in the past. But most of the people try to see something through the glasses of the past or their own conclusions or concepts. But I'm not talking about conceptual thinking or intellectual conclusions or prejudices and all that. I'm talking about looking at something for its own sake, how it reveals to us. That is called perception for what it is. And that is where you got to train your mind back to that. Suppose you say you have these tendencies, that you have some prejudice about certain country, for example, and then you discover, yeah, I'm prejudiced about those country people. Then you can see how it has formed, what kind of history it had, and all that. And then when you come and say they're all human beings, we are all one human tribe, that is a liberating experience. Make sense?
Again, yeah.
Yeah. But that's true. What you said. Everybody looks at from how they are developed and how they were exposed to things, right? Some of them good, that's very good, but then some of them are dividing us, and that's why we have so much trouble in the world of the wars and all this, once you understand that, you will come back to it, and then you say, okay, uh, 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 you don't have to blame yourself because you are put in that atmosphere, you are kind of made to go through it, and you absorbed it without really knowing. Especially impressive people who are not really reflecting on their experiences, reflecting on what they learned, they may accept, oh, because everybody's saying this is it. Revolution comes when you really say, is this really right? Or just because I'm thinking is this right? Then you begin to say, I'm not going to invest so much into my own conclusions or my concepts. I will discard them and see the world or the movement as it is. and that will teach us. Then you will be able to see everything. This is the problem with not able to enjoy nature is we never see the nature for what it is. We kind of come to it with some conclusions, and they say this is the way it should be because I know about it. I remember one of the professors were having a talk, and he was saying about he was in a Buddhist ashram or something in Cambodia somewhere, where they have a beautiful garden where all these lotus flowers are there and big leaves are there, and he noticed on one of the leaves these pearls of drops of water early in the morning, right? They were all there and they are glorious. It looks like it doesn't have a bottom, and the whole drop is shining like a pearl because the sunlight is coming, and it's as though it's like a rounded object of water that is shining like a diamond. He was so enamored. He was looking at it, then he was questioning, how did it doesn't have any surface underneath? It is looking like it has standing there without any bearing. And he began to question all that. Then he said, shut up, just watch it. And then he really got the beauty of the pearl and then enjoyed it. So that's how our mind kind of talks or chatters. Don't get past into the chatter, then the chatter will take you. That's all I'm saying. In the morning, don't initiate the chatter. This is called I thought, first thought. And then if you can really understand the first thought and put it away, then it doesn't have a chance to form another thought, another thought, another. That's what happens with the thought network. Means one thought leads to other and it happens so fast, and we are so good at it. It's very difficult when you want to reverse that. For that, you need the practice of meditation.
No, I agree. What I'd say is that
Yeah.
all of these things that you speak of, I speak of, many other people speak of.
Yeah.
The way I see it, it's like if you look at the world again, it's like, well, if I say this verse, it happens in all different ways and shapes and forms. So
Yeah.
we scatter things and break them down and look at them,
Yeah.
and then we recombine them. So we dissolve and recombine these things, and then we've got the world. If you look at it from like you zoomed out at the world and you saw every person on the globe, you've got people that understand this and people that don't understand this, whether they've read it from a book, heard it from Buddha, whether they've heard it through Jesus, whether they heard it through anyone. And you can get people to understand that. But then there's the point of this, obviously, this intuitive knowledge and connecting the subconscious and conscious. And then obviously,
it's not so much about the knowledge, it's about the experience. See?
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to understand, what you're saying through being. Seeing things as they are rather than to scatter them and break them up. Yeah, and then obviously it's those people that understand this, it becomes hard because I will say, obviously, this happens to me where...
the more knowledge, the more problem, the more things will be there. The more complicated, all the looping and all that. But getting the insight, that's the understanding we're talking about. Insight, and then aha moment, like, oh yeah, I get it, and that kind of grasps it, and then we can experience that. That's why all the description is only to make people understand. But then you got to listen, understand, and dump it. Otherwise, it becomes accumulated knowledge again.
Like a clutch.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why this solitude of mind, silence of mind, actually, our real nature is silence. We learn to speak, we learn to think, so that those faculties have to be under our control. That's the thing. I enjoy the silence. That's why I'm kind of very partial to it. I don't have this chatter. I don't have this continuous talking and all that, which is a wonderful blessing, I consider. That's why Whenever somebody asks, how are you? I say, I'm blissful because I'm not having the noise of the chatter in my mind all the time, right? So that helps a lot, you know. So anyway, I just started this topic and I will continue to do that tomorrow also. And I'll bring the movie tomorrow for sure. Then I will pin it and whoever wants to see it and then discuss with me. Okay, Lou?
Yeah, thank you very much for your contributions in this
Yeah.
world.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay. I'll be seeing you again tomorrow. Alka, thanks for coming and listening. And all the people on the Wisdom app also, thanks for coming and listening. I'll see you again tomorrow. Okay. Bye bye.